So for 2.3, we looked at dividing decimals. Now, we did discuss, for some situations, you'll be allowed to use a calculator, right, to solve. So we are only expected to solve a multi-digit divided by a single digit. All right, so just by one number. That was what you'd have to do mentally, okay? As soon as this number becomes 2 digits, that's when you would get a calculator. Okay, so I'm only going to show you the mental math and the solving for a 1-digit divisor. Okay, so let's start with a question like 23.45 divided by 5. Okay, so when we get a question like this, we've got our decimals. All right, we are going to set up our long division. Now, there's more than one ways to do this. All right, I'm going to show you the long division method because you did it last year. You're familiar with it now. Okay, so it should be a repeat. But before we even start a long division, let's just do an estimation of where our answer needs to be roughly around so we know where we put the decimal. So we have 23.45 divided by 5. Well, let's pick a number that can actually be divided by 5. So let's say this is close to 20, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So our answer needs to be close to 4. All right, so now when we do our long division, the first number always goes into the hat. Okay, so it goes inside of the hat. So there's my hat, and 23.45 actually goes in the hat. And I'm going to leave my decimal in this time, which is a little bit different than we've been doing because we kind of been getting rid of our decimals. I'm going to leave it in this time. The 5 goes outside of the hat. Now, what I need to first figure out is how many times does 5 fit into 2? Well, 5 can't fit into 2, so it's going to go in there 0 times. But now I go, okay, but 5 0 times is what? Well, that's 0, so I'm going to put that number underneath. Then I'm going to subtract these two numbers. So 2 minus 0 is going to be 2. And then from there we go. I'm going to bring down that next number to make this number 23. And now I do the same thing, except how many times does 5 fit into 23? Well, 5 fits into 23 4 times. It doesn't fit perfectly, but 5 4 times is 20. And when I subtract, I have 3 left over. And then I bring down my next number. And so now I go, okay, well, how many times does 5 fit into 34? Well, it fits into it for sure 6 times. And 5 6 times is going to be 30. Now when I subtract, I have 4 left over, and I bring down my final number here. 5 fits into 45 how many times? Well, 5 fits into 45 9 times. And that actually works out perfectly because 5 9 times is 45, and we're left with a 0 remainder. And now all we have to do is we have to put our decimal back into the right spot. What we talked about is dividing decimals is actually so much nicer because the decimal ends up in the same spot when we're dividing by this whole number. So if we notice, the 0 and the 2 are in line, the 4 and the 3 are in line, the 6 and the 4 are in line, 9 and 5 are in line. The decimals are also going to be in line, so they're going to be in that spot. So our answer would be 4.69. And now if we go back and take a look at our estimate, they're pretty close. So we know that we actually put the decimal into the correct position. All right, so a lot of this chapter is just doing that long division, all right, and doing some of that estimation.